Hello everyone, my name is Iottly and I'm a software developer at Tomorrow Data. Today I want to show you an overview on our Iottly software, which is mainly a remote management tool for embedded devices, but it can also be much more. So let's get right into it. We head up to Iottly.com, which is our main page. And if you don't have an account just yet, you can create your new free account right away by clicking on the sign up button. You just need to enter a valid email address, a full name, a password, and then you click on sign up. You will receive an activation email just like this one where you can activate your account. And once you have activated your account, you can go back to the Iottly.com page. Click on login this time, you insert your account's email and password, and you click on login. You will be redirected to a page just like this one. So this is your account's main view where you have a list of your currently existing projects. I have 2 of them. And you can also create new projects by clicking this button right here. You give the project a name, a description, and you select the architecture of the devices that you're going to install in this project. We have quite a lot of architectures supported for now, but we have more coming soon, so stay tuned. And if we click on one project, this is an empty project now, so we have this dialog appearing that says, oops, this project has no device connected yet. Please go to the project configuration panel to pair a new device with your project. So let's do that, and we go to our project configuration panel. And here we are on the devices configuration tab, where it says to insert a name for your first device. I'm going to call it just first device, just for simplicity. And once we click on setup device, now we see we have instructions to install the Iottly agent on our device. So it says to power up our device, of course, which is a Raspberry Pi in our case, because I have selected a Raspberry Pi type of project. Connected to your local network, because we need the internet to perform the installation, which I already did. I'm going to bring the window right here. Copy this command, paste it into the SSH console and hit return. Okay, we see that it has performed installation, checking, synchronizing, verify that the following device information matches with those on the device's configuration panel. Device name, first device, MAC address. Okay, everything looks good. So we enter again, and now we see that the first device is correctly installed. So we can move this out of the way. Click continue, and now we see that this has changed. We can see that now we have our device here with all the details. Actually, this is a list of devices, so we would have more devices here. We can add more devices by clicking on the add device button here and give them a name. So we can also abort an installation, because I don't have 2 Raspberry Pis right here with me now. We have more details here, like the agent version that we just installed. And we can also see that we have this green dot telling us that the device is connected. So let's get back to the management console and hit refresh with F5. And now we see that we have the first device. We can click on this and it's going to insert it in the devices list. So this is the management panel for our project, and we see that it's divided in 4 main areas. There's actually a 5th up here, which is very small, and it's basically telling us the same details that we've seen in the devices configuration page right here. So we have MAC address, unique identifier for our device, and the agent version of Iottly, and the connection status, which is also over here. This square is the devices list. So again, if we would have more devices, then we would see more devices here. For each device, there's the name of the device and the connection status, which is represented by this colored icon, which will go red when the device is not reachable, and green because now it's connected, so it's green. Going on the right, we have the commands box. What commands are, we're going to see that in a bit. For now, let's just see that we can have 9 of them pinned in this box. We also have more of them if we open up the drop-down list. Actually, there is not so many of them right now because these are only the stock commands which come right out of the box. We can also play around with them a little bit, change their positions. Actually, I like them the way they were before, so I'm just going to put them how they were, which was like this. Okay, I can also, if I want, I can delete one. I mean, it's not deleting the command, it's just unpinning it from the box, and I can move another command which maybe I like more. This command that I just pinned up here is the echo command. I'm going to press send to demonstrate how it works, but first I want to talk to you about this box on the right, which has a lot of entries, and this is actually a log journal. You can also click on one entry and the message will expand and you can see more details of the message. So what Ego does is simply to send a message to the project, and in fact we see that we have more messages here as we press on the command. The last square is this big one that looks empty. That's because we haven't pressed on new yet. So if we press on new, then we see that we're dispatching our SSH drone to the location of our first device, which means that we're going to open an SSH session on our device, which will be exactly like having our device connected to our local network and SSH in our local network, just that we're doing this via the internet. So we're going to have the same exact commands and utilities that we're used to in a shell environment, like echo or ls, hello ls. We can also see how it's really the same device if we want by creating a new file, an empty file, and we can write on this file, and I will see that actually we have the same exact experience of a terminal in our local network. We can actually create more than one session, so that we will have up to 3 sessions for one device. We can move between sessions by clicking on the tabs on the top here, and then we can close our sessions, and it's like closing a terminal. If we want to know more about our sessions, there's this audit logs tab, which holds the history of all our sessions. So each has a unique ID. It tells us when it began, it tells us when it ended, and how much it has lasted. To conclude, I want to show you how you can create your own command. So if you liked how the commands worked before, when we saw with the echo command, actually you can do a lot more with commands. For example, if we want to ping ourselves, we can see we're going to ping ourselves for 5 seconds, and when 5 seconds pass, we have the result of the ping as a message. So we can also ping Google, for example, for 5 seconds. They're not going to get angry for 5 seconds. And all right, here we have it. This is the ping for Google. If I try to ping an address that I'm sure it's not there, it's going to ping it for 5 seconds, then it's going to give up, and it has returned an error, because that's how bash works. It returns an error when the pings is unsuccessful. And so we want to have a look at how we can do something like this. And we go back to the configuration panel. We just saw the devices configuration tab for now. Now we're going to have a look at the management scripts tab and the management commands tab. So in the management scripts tab, you have a small in-browser IDE where you can write your own Python scripts. But first, before writing your command, you have to create your command, and that's done on the management commands tab. So you see here that we have the same commands that we were looking here. We have the same ones over here. If we want to create a new message, we click on new message right here. We give the command a name. For example, just as we've done earlier with the SSH session, we could write a command that simply writes something to a file. And so we're going to call that write to file. Writes to a file. And what we'll need will be a file path, which is a free value. So as it says here, separate multiple values using a comma or leave empty for free value. Here we can say if it's an optional parameter. Actually, all these keywords will be the parameters of the Python scripts, Python functions that we're going to write in the management scripts tab. We're going to see that in a bit. So a file path, and then we need some content, which is also a free value. We save the command, and now we see that we have the command here. So we can go to the management scripts. Here we see we have some information to help you create your code. If I want to access the keywords that I've defined in the commands tab, I can just do file path is cmd parse file path, and just the same for content. Just like this. And now I can use these parameters to write to a file. So with open file path as f, we want to write content, and I also like to have a new line at the bottom of it, so I'm going to put that here. And we can also, this send message function is actually what's returned in the logs here. If we don't put a send message method in our script, then we won't have any feedback. This is useful sometimes, but right now, let's say we want to have a feedback of the file being written. So we're going to put here send message success. We're going to put true and content. Okay, we save. Then we have this button which is flash over the air. This will actually dispatch our newly created code to all the devices in the project. So we see, we can say not yet if we just want to do it later, or we still have something to do on the code. We don't want to flash the firmware yet, or we want to flash it. So we say yes, and we see this progress bar. Now it's green, so the code was successfully dispatched. Now we refresh the page. We will see that we have our newly created command write to file. Content. Hello, Waldo. File path will be home py bar dot text because we already have foo. Content, hello Waldo, success true. Let's bring our local SSH session and let's see, ls cat bar txt. Hello Waldo. We could have also done this from Iottly directly, just dispatching a new SSH session on Iottly. We would have seen the same exact things that we just saw. We can also create a read file command, reads from a file, where the only parameter needed will be file path. So we save it, and now we see that it's here. We go to the management scripts tab, and actually all of this is not needed. The only thing you will need is this. So all the rest, just remember the send message method. We will keep that for this time. And actually just do like file path equals cmd parse file path, and then it's just regular Python code. So we open file path as ff.read content, and now we can say success true content and save, flash over the air, yes, flash, close, go back here, close the session, we refresh the page, and we have our read file command. So we input the same file that we just wrote, and we have hello Waldo, success true. So this is pretty much an overview on what you'll be capable of doing with Iottly. I hope everything was clear and that you have enjoyed this video and this small presentation. See you soon on iottly.com.